Today we need to talk about Suga getting a salute goodbye as he leaves for the military. We also have to get into why people think Suga having a head shaving and enlistment date. And then we have BTS needing an apology, trending, and officials confirming an accident. So hey Dumplings, this is Dave Desai Hater, and make sure you subscribe to it with the notification bell on. Grab your Dumpling, tastefully mug merch, and let's go. I woke up this morning to a lot of ARMYs tweeting about something that happened in Korea and caused the fandom to demand that people apologize to BTS and specifically some news sites. So what happened and what is the outrage? Well, before I get into that, I have to give some backstory on things. Korea right now is a bit more on edge compared to everyone else, especially in crowded areas and in the train system. For the last few days, it's been reported that in Seoul there might have been some stabbings. While I think this is one isolated incident, it was definitely a big one with 14 people wounded, and that's pretty scary. Getting attacked on the train or stabbed is a big fear, and I would imagine for most people. Where do you even go when a situation like this happens? You can't run, and if it's in a crowded train, you can barely move. This is already terrifying, and I'm sure there's some residual fears from previous things like the crowding situation on Halloween for Itaewon. So just keep in mind, people are a bit on edge and scared. Well, apparently it was believed that for this specific train ride, there was a funny smell coming from the train, and people equated that to a gas leak. And then allegedly there was some sort of scream that occurred. So people equated the scream to mean the gas leak, and then everyone fled, and there was some injuries due to the fleeing and crowding. There then came out some reports that the gas leak was really not a thing that occurred, and officials allegedly checked with no evidence of a leak. It was then reported by media that the screaming was not related to gas leak, as there allegedly wasn't one, but it was reported to partly be because Suga revealed his tattoo during a live stream and a foreigner on the train screamed after seeing it. This caused the fandom to break out furiously because they don't want to be the reason why someone got injured. However, I will say from my experience seeing these types of outrages, ARMYs don't like to take responsibility even when it is their fault. I still think some people in the fandom owe James Corden an apology. That has never happened. So just because the fandom breaks out in anger does not mean, to me, that they are correct. But building on top of that, if an ARMY did scream and that scream caused panic, that is a reflection on that one person, not a reflection of the fandom as a whole. And to take it that way is very interesting to me, because no one was saying that the entirety of the fandom is screaming and causing panic, but just the one fan that day. I'm also not sure where the idea of a gas leak came from. A gas leak is definitely possible underground with many buildings, pipes, and various things underground, but you can't really see it. So I just never heard of someone screaming from a gas leak or basically an odd smell. Usually there's screams from an explosion, but an explosion never occurred. And no one fainted or passed out before the scream, so it's not like someone would scream for a dead body or something. On top of that, the claim of gas leak makes even less sense when you realize places like South Korea and many other developed countries don't use gas for things like their train system. They are all electric and either run with an overhead electric thing on top that charges the trains, or they run with a third railing. So this is a third rail on the tracks that if you touch it, it will electrify you, and when the trains run alongside it, that rail charges the train. And these are the best ways to run a train system, as there's no downtime and there's no need to fill up the gas tank every trip. It just keeps running 24/7. So the idea of a gas leak doesn't make sense. I also don't know what the scream was for, but the fandom saying it was from a gas leak doesn't quite make a lot of sense to me. On top of that, it was believed that SBS News finally broke out the story and said that a specific ARMY was the one that broke out screaming after a BTS video. So it's up to you if you want to believe that or not. There's no evidence to support that the alleged ARMY did scream because of that video or was just watching a BTS video and screamed after getting a text from a job opportunity or something. You don't know, so it's up to you to believe what it could be. This was around the time when Suga had just finished his last concert, and ARMYs were freaking out over that. I do react to ARM's performance on Suga's show and plan to react to more things. So if you're interested, check out the Patreon. I will link that below. We like to fangirl and have fun over there, and we have some limited spots that are still available right now. Emotions were definitely at an all-time high at the last show, and it's been crazy. Jin and Jaeho both appeared at the show, and they both saluted Suga on stage. This was absolutely hilarious, as Suga just turned around and got embarrassed. This is very cute, as Suga and all of the members likely knew that Suga was going to go right ahead to the military right after the last concert. And I think this was even more painful to ARMY to see the members know but not be able to say anything. Suga at the concert also talked about how he doesn't know when he will see everyone, and then spoke about how it will be 2025 and we should all make plans for that. This was directly saying that he will enlist, but we didn't get an official announcement yet. But even from this, many ARMYs were already crying and being super sad. They think this was Suga's final goodbye, so we did get a goodbye message sort of from HYBE, which I will talk about more later. But people think that Suga being saluted by the members and saying what he said during the concert was his final way of saying goodbye, but I don't think so yet. I think we'll get a real goodbye very soon, and by real goodbye I mean he will have a military goodbye video that will be posted similar to J-Hope and Jin. I really don't think he's going to go off right now, and that was the last time we would hear from him until 2025. Now, if you're unaware, we have official confirmation of Suga's enlistment. It's not just speculation anymore, but HYBE officially released a statement to say that Suga has filed to remove his postponement. So I know that sounds confusing, and if you don't read it carefully, a lot of these headlines look like it says that he is not enlisting. But all BTS members who have applied are allowed a deferment or delay of their service. Normally, South Korean men need to enlist by 28. BTS, given the BTS law, are allowed to enlist by 30. This was their special exemption for everything they've done to their country. And as of right now, that's all they can do. In the future, there may be a first group that will get exempt, but right now it's not BTS, unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever you think. So Suga took that off, and then only a few more weeks will he be officially called on by the government. So once that delay form is removed, the government looks at the age of every man in the country, and they just send out the enrollment applications to those that are eligible. And so Suga will be going soon. It's pretty clear that it will be soon, and people are definitely sad about it. Just because we knew that it would happen definitely does not mean we are not sad about it. We can still feel sad and be happy that he will enlist soon. Many are more so sad about the lack of content from Suga, but also just what Suga will look like. Unlike the other members, Suga has kept his hair very long for his solo, and people are definitely very sad to see him having to shave all of that off before going. It's just so luscious and big. There became memes online of people saying what Suga will need to do to his hair, and then jokes asking if Suga's hair could just be exempt from being shaved. Some even think that the shaving head date is coming very soon, and I agree. I think it will be happening very soon, but we should not be scared of it happening. I can understand that this is definitely a hard pill to swallow, as not just a goodbye to the artist, but sitting there and knowing that the shave was not their choice, and the shave represents a change in self. This is a hard pill to swallow. It's hard to acknowledge that the artists will be different, and I think deep down, the ARMYs are very scared that Suga and the other members are going to change either their music or personal style once the service is over. They definitely promoted for a long time a much softer, gentler BTS, and so possibly seeing a new version of them, I think makes some fans fear that they may not like the new BTS. However, I doubt this will be true. I think overall them going to the military is only going to strengthen the connection to their audience. They know from their pre-debut days that life is hard, and they had a lot of financial struggles. But a lot of those problems don't exist for them anymore. Of course, they still have many problems, but those problems are less relatable. This is one of the reasons why artists will often just make music about love and dating, because this is the only thing that, no matter if you're rich or super poor, can you relate to. People all know what heartbreak feels like, or someone not loving you back, whereas when an artist tends to sing about their mansion problems, a lot of the newer generation of listeners will tend to tune out because we don't want to hear about those problems, as we are all struggling to pay rent. So BTS and Suga going to the military and almost grounding themselves again will give them more inspiration to talk about more topics that are more relatable. I guarantee someone from the camp will probably inspire a new song that one of them would write. They used to write songs like Spring Day and Euphoria, which were about darker, relatable topics, which I am sure ARMYs would love to hear more of again. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out my Patreon for more videos. Link down below. Thanks for this lovely comment right here. Love you. Bye.